I think we're having problems. No, we're good. We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our live stream, and welcome everybody. Guys, listen, today we are talking about an urgent World War III warning. We have got Zelensky meeting with Trump tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to be making parallels between just before the Second World War broke out and now. And guys, look, if you can't see these parallels that are brewing, these clearly identifiable, hang on guys, let me press some buttons. This clearly identifiable theme that a country has to go through before there's a global conflict. Guys, I'm gonna make those correlations now, but just quickly, I need to click some buttons on the screen, and they're not clicking. My buttons are not clicking, ladies and gentlemen. This has never happened to me. This has never happened to me before. Right, if I click that again, do you know what, guys? I can't even, I'm just going to leave it, guys. I'm going to leave that button, and I'm not going to worry too much. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, okay? I want to dive into the past and uncover lessons for today. So what I want to do, guys, I want to step back and think about 1939 in the United Kingdom. It was a pivotal year in the United Kingdom when the shadow of war was looming, as it is today. Society was absolutely fractured and change was brewing. Like, does that sound familiar to anyone? Does that sound familiar to anyone, guys? That was the situation in 1938. Now, what I want to do is I want to explore the social dynamics of the United Kingdom in 1938 and draw some striking parallels with today. A time of global tension, domestic divisions, and like real questions about leadership. Like, literally, guys, who's going to lead who is the UK war leader right now? We are going to be talking about that later on, guys. We're going to be talking about who the UK war leader would be. And I've got to be honest, guys, it's not looking good. But I guess cometh the moment, cometh the man. So much like Churchill did in World War II, who is going to lead Britain through this conflict? Because let's not forget, guys, it was Neville Chamberlain who was the initial wartime leader. So, guys, grab yourself a little snack and tap the screen and like, comment, subscribe, share, bell notification if you can. Remember, we're triple streaming today, guys. We are triple streaming as always. So if you can, hit those buttons. If you're on TikTok, I believe they're up there. If you are on YouTube, I believe they're down there. And guys, listen, if you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because that really helps the channel out. If you can't do anything else, guys, please hit that share button, because that really helps me out as well. So, picture the scene, guys, 1938, and tell me if this sounds familiar, guys, all right? So, in the United Kingdom in 1938, we just come out of the Great Depression, but the society was still fractured. You had this you had this pyramid with the aristocrats at the top, the working class struggling in the factories, in factories and mines, and you had this growing middle class. Some places in the United Kingdom, guys, I don't know if you know this, but some places in the United Kingdom in 1938, they had a 20% joblessness, so 20% unemployment, guys. Can you, and right now, I think we're up at 5% or something. So unemployment, I would say, and when I talk to people overseas who've studied who've studied this in depth, they always say that mass unemployment, it's like a precursor to a war, because you need to break the people in that region. You need to break them financially to then that war becomes easier. Because you can imagine it right now, guys, all right? Just imagine the scenario right now. Imagine you are there, you've got a good job, you're going on holiday twice a year, all your mortgage payments are up to date, your fridge is absolutely brimming with steak and chicken fillets, and somebody says, yeah, we're going to go to a war, we need volunteers. What are you going to say? Realistically, what are you going to say? You're going to say, no, I'm good, actually. Count me out. I'm good with that one. We're going to Barbados this year. I'd love to go to your war, but I got Barbados. I'm already booked. I do your war, Kia, mate. I'd come on your war, but I'm going to Barbados this year, so I kind of can't. But when the next one comes up, give me a shout. So it's not going to happen. However, imagine imagine if there was 20% unemployment rate in the United Kingdom, jobs, cost of living crisis rising, jobs plummeting, like, and then the same questions asked. People are like, yeah, you know what, I'll do it just for something to do. So that is the situation we find ourselves in now, guys. Okay, this social divide, there's this big social divide. There was a big social divide in the United Kingdom in 1938, like there is now, guys. So, for example, now, we see these disparities, I guess, between London and the South that are like thriving with tech jobs, while northern towns and northern cities, guys, we're really struggling with deindustrialization. When I used to be in the space industry, I used to have to go down to, where is it? Go on, somebody tell me where the UK space industry is. I forgot. I used to go down there. I used to have to go down there the first Wednesday of every month. But Harwell. So you go down to this like Didcot. Sorry, you go down to this like Didcot bubble, and you've got all these industries there. You've got all these space industries, all these high value manufacturing places, and like if you're a kid growing up there, you have that opportunity. People are no smarter wherever you live, but what I'm getting at here is opportunity. Capacity. There's no difference in capacity. The difference in the United Kingdom is in opportunity, and it really is, guys. It's unbelievable. So they're like the disparities we have in 1938, guys. And you can look at the big divides now between North and South in the United Kingdom. There was this thing as well with women's rights in 1938. So women were pushing boundaries. They got their vote, like, 1928, women got the vote, and they were taking up jobs in offices and schools, but they were still expected to be the home carers. Now, if we compare that to 2025, women, you could argue, have got, equal lead in politics, maybe in business, you could say. I guess, listen, some would argue that's why politics has gone down. But the gender pay cap, and people argue about this gender pay cap. I'm not convinced about it, but people do argue whether it's there or not, guys. I'm not convinced, but it is an argument that's there. And trade workers are always fighting for rights. And these are the things that absolutely destroy a country, guys, right? Because when these trade workers are wanting more money for people, ultimately, the bottom line has to go up. So yes, you get more money for something, but ultimately that bottom line and that price, the price of that rises. So unfortunately, everybody has to pay for that. And then we've got the shadow of war, guys. We've got this shadow of war, and nobody can, like, I don't know, guys. Do you think there's a shadow of war right now over the United Kingdom, over the West? Like, I don't think anybody can deny that we have a shadow of war over us in the United Kingdom. So 1938, Neville Chamberlain, he had like this appeasement policy where he was pandering to the bad guys, and he was saying, oh, we want to appease you. Do what you want to, we'll appease you. And some politicians, like Winston Churchill, for example, saw it as weakness. And this is kind of the thing, guys, when people are trying to strong arm you, and take this from any walk of life, guys, all right? If somebody is trying to strong arm you, whether you win or lose, you've got to strong arm them back, because if you don't strong arm that person back, you're just going to lose everything. And if you strong arm back, you know what, guys, you might just surprise yourselves. So those things are real, Now, the fear in 1938 of the rise in the German military, it really does mirror 2025, guys. With these global anxieties, Russia's war in Ukraine, tensions with China, cyber attacks, sabotage, all these things are real. These are real things that are happening, guys, and they're affecting each and every one of us. In 1938, there was in 1936, there was the Spanish Civil War. There was the Jewish refugee crisis, stirred debate about migration and identity politics, which is kind of like today, guys. These things are happening today in the United Kingdom. Nobody can say that we don't have an identity crisis in the United Kingdom, guys, okay? Anybody who says that the United Kingdom does not have an identity crisis, you're potentially misinformed. So culturally, 1938 was like, it was vibrant, cinemas packed out for, you know, movies from Hollywood. And the BBC broadcast, they were kind of like, and again, guys, I know this has changed, but I'm talking about 1938 now. So the BBC radio broadcast I'm talking about now, they like unified homes. So people would come home, and they'd, we're going to listen to the wireless for the Real Raven One show, and the Real Raven One is going to tell us all what's happening. So, you know, these things unified people. They really did, you know. And football was another big one as well. And I know I spoke about football earlier on today, but, you know, it's kind of like it unifies people. It brings people together. And then you can push them in whatever direction you want once you've got them together. So let's fast forward real quick to 2025 and let's see how different things are now, guys. You know, we've got like streaming services like, you know, like Netflix, for example, that are doing pretty much the job. I would say Netflix, and I don't know if there's any statistics about this, guys, but I would say Netflix has overtaken or certainly replaced the cinema. I mean, let's be fair, guys. Let me give you this example real quick, and then we'll continue. Like, you know when Stranger Things comes out later on this year? Like, I know I'm waiting for it. You know when Stranger Things comes out, how much is that going to unify people? Like, how is that going to unify people? Like, people will be unified when Stranger Things comes out. People will be talking about it. Oh, God, did you see what 11 did? Oh, yeah, and Vecna, you know, all that stuff unifies people. And then, like, channels like mine, you know, so we don't have the BBC anymore because we can't say that the BBC are like, we can't say that the BBC are this unifying force anymore. But for example, I'm not trying to claim I'm the BBC, but people online, people doing live streams, the internet, that is now taking the place as the radio did in 1938. Guys, let me jump onto the comments in a minute. Let me just respond to this message. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. Guys, there's so many comments jumping up. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've got the chat open. I have got the chat open, guys. Okay, so I do apologize that I'm probably not going to get everyone's comments. I do apologize, guys. Listen, in the mornings we do a subscribers only chat, and I will read each and every one of those comments out. I make a point of getting to all those comments. So we are done. I guess we're on, guys. I guess we're on. I've been monologuing for what have I been monologuing on that? What? I've forgotten how to talk. I do it quite often, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been monologuing for 14 minutes. Can you do me a real big favor, guys? Hit those buttons, like, comment, follow, subscribe, share, bell notifications, TikTok there, up there, YouTube there, down there. We are triple streaming, guys. I'm going to give the first part of this live stream. I'm going to give the first part of this live stream on on TikTok, and then we're going to turn TikTok off, and we will just be live streaming on. YouTube and X. Right, guys. Sorry, guys. Let me continue. Let me continue, guys. Hang on. Nicole is saying, what about the Summer of Carnage? Nicole, have you not seen the masses of protests outside all the hotels, the civil unrest, the absolute divisions in our society? So I want to give some more parallels now, guys, but I want to focus on divisions and tensions in the United Kingdom, and I want to try and, as best I can, using Raven logic. And you guys know I know you guys love Raven logic, like you love Raven maths. My little girl was she gave me a maths question. And I gave her a response like real quick, and she said, "Daddy, no, that's not it." I said it is, and I gave her my workings out, and it was Raven maths, and I was like, I think the answer was like 90, and within like a split, I had to calculate like the volume of something, a wingspan of something. And in my head, real quickly, I just estimated it to be 90. It actually turned out to be 88.7. And I said, yeah, but look how quickly I did that, and look how long it took you to do that. But listen, guys, you love Raven logic, and I know you love Raven maths. So keep tapping that screen, guys. So I want to give the parallels now, guys. Divisions, tensions, and I want to talk about resilience as well, guys, because we really do need resilience in this country, and resilience comes from unity. And when we talk about leadership, the main, a real big part of leadership is uniting people. Not everybody's going to agree. Not everybody's going to agree, guys. Not everybody's going to agree. I know that I have the best hair that's on the internet. Some of you guys may or may not agree, but I agree with that. But, you know, it doesn't mean we have to fall out about it. We can just agree that I'm right. You see where I'm going with that? So what was it like in, what's the UK like in 2025? And like, how does that echo 1938? So first, guys, we have got the social divides. Like, nobody can deny the social divides that we have at the moment. You know, in 1938, I guess there was more like class divides, and your class really did divide you. Where you lived, where you worked, where you studied. Today, you could argue that's less rigid, but economic equality, it's unbelievable, guys. Economic equality is unbelievable. There was a report I read like a while ago, and it was talking about the growing wealth gap in the United Kingdom. And the top 1% of people who live in the United Kingdom hold 20% of the UK's wealth, while 1 in 5, I think it was, so like 20%, while 20% of households face poverty. Like 1938, guys, there are slums in the United Kingdom. Slums in the United Kingdom. And this brings me on to the questions that some people were talking about. Some people were talking about questions and saying, Sean, do you think these migrants are going to be sent to the military? I'm kind of leaning that way, guys. I've got to be honest. I'm kind of leaning that way. In 2025, we have got a massive housing crisis, guys, okay? Urban renters are being squeezed to the dilly-dees, all right? You have got we have literally now, guys, in the United Kingdom, we have a house, well, what was it, a homelessness minister. I know they've gone now. We had a homelessness minister that was making more people poor. We've got rural areas that are being hollowed out with inheritance tax for farmers. Like, can you believe that, guys? Can you believe what we're saying? We're actually making it harder for farmers to provide us with food. And we're actually making our own food more expensive. Like, where does it end, guys? Where does this end? We've got political polarization as well. In 1938, the Labour Party was pushing for the workers' rights bills, while the Conservatives held power. Today, Keir Starmer he was elected in 2024, and he won 400 and something seats. But guys, look, let's be real, and let's be honest. You feeling me, fam? If an election was tomorrow, do we think that it would be over for the Labour Party, or do we think the Labour Party would manage to hold on? I would say there's a strong argument that, you know, if there was an election now, the Labour Party would be over and they would be beaten so bad that they would never be coming back. So there is this war anxiety right now, and there is, guys. I'm going to talk about Zelensky going to meet. I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen with this Zelensky and Trump meeting tomorrow. I'll tell you in a couple of sentences exactly how it will work. Exactly, guys. I'll tell you exactly how it's going to work. I'll probably be able to script what Donald Trump's going to say afterwards. I could probably script it, guys. I could probably script it. So we've got this war anxiety. You know, in 1938, there was the Chamberlain Agreement, which fueled fears. In 2025, we've got the strategic, the Strategic Defense Review, which warned of a wartime scenario by 2030, with Russia, China, cyber attacks. You've got sabotage, you've got non-conventional warfare, all these things here, you know. There was that MP, I can't remember what his name was, but he was saying there's more than a 50% chance that we're going to be at war in the next 5 years. The immigration debate, guys, it's ridiculously heated. No one can say it's not heated. I'm trying to give this as objective as I can. You guys, listen, guys, everybody following the channel, you know exactly where I stand on this. All right, you know exactly where I am. But regardless, it is a heated debate. And the more migrants come to the country, the more migrants get granted asylum, then the more heated that debate is going to be. So, you know, that Overton window starts to slowly expand. So 1930, you know, in 1938, there was, you know, there was anti-Semitism among Jewish refugees arrivals. Today, there's a similar debates about boats coming over and social cohesion. The warnings of civil unrest, they're unreal, guys. Right? All you need to do now, and I'm looking at, like, you know, people who've got letters after their names. They're not as smart as me, guys. They're not as smart as me. They pretend to be as smart as me. They don't have the hair like me. They can't run as fast as me. They certainly can't do clean. They certainly can't do 30 clean and press with 60 kilos in a wanna like I can. But, you know, they've got names, they've got letters after their names, so they get a bigger audience. But there's been a lot of mainstream commenters now talking about the absolute inevitability of civil unrest in the United Kingdom. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I was talking about it first, so listen, maybe they're following or not. Maybe they're following, maybe they're not. But we've also got to think about the resilience as well. And guys, look, now when I talk about resilience, I'm talking about that, that golden generation, this generation that I talk about. If you're 16 and under, yes, of course, if you're 17, if you're 18, you're still going to fit into that. But this generation that we have now, because you guys know the meme, right? Strong men create weak, what is it? Strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong times. Right now, our young kids are gonna, I'm genuinely seeing that resilience, guys. Like, go back through my TikTok videos, and when I was doing TikTok videos last year on the Rotherham riots, the riots that broke out in Rotherham, I said to people before anyone else, guys, nobody else was even talking about this. I was saying to people, there's a generation of young men, there's a generation of angry young men right now, and they are going to be strong, guys. They're going to be strong. So, you know, I feel we do have this resilience in the United Kingdom, guys. I do feel it's there. If you're like mid to late 30s and under, you get, like, honestly, guys, like, you guys are pretty much written off. I'm sorry, but, like, you guys are pretty much written off. There's no real drive for you guys in society right now. The generation that we all need to protect is that golden generation, guys, that strong generation of kids that are 16 and under, because those are going to be the kids. Those are going to be the kids that are going to rebuild this nation, guys. They're going to be the kids that rebuild this nation. And then their children, the next generation after them, they're going to be like the next boomers. And then guess what? In another 80 years, we're going to do what? We're going to go through all this again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go all through this again. So I do feel we've got that energy for change in that generation. But that generation, they need to grow up and they need to be nurtured. They need to be protected, guys, all right? And that's where we're going in this country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're still on. We are still on. I'm going to get some comments now. But after I get some comments, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over. I'm not going to jump anywhere. After I've got some comments, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about who. And I have to laugh because when I was thinking about this earlier, I was thinking, right, who would be Britain's war leader? Like honestly, guys, like some of Churchill's speeches, like even now, if you listen to or read Churchill's speeches, I mean, their finest hour. I think that speech is like the whole transcript from their finest hour. Honestly, guys, if you read that whole speech, if I defy anyone to read Churchill's finest hour speech and not be absolutely bawling in tears, because it's so powerful, guys. It's so powerful. Right, let me jump up and get these comments. White Stuff 82 is saying, Tommy, he's been our Lionheart. he doesn't have what it takes to be a war leader, guys. Honestly, like, to be a war leader, you have to have something different. Oh, Shane Poskett saying Ant Middleton will be our war leader. Interesting. Listen, guys, I've been quite critical about Ant Middleton. I have. I'm going to stop being critical on. I'm going to stop being critical. I'm going to stop being critical about Ant Middleton because I think he would be head and shoulders better than Keir Starmer in London. And you know what, guys? For all my criticisms, I do think he's a good guy. He's just not as good as the parachute regiment guys that he used to work with. Thomas Vale is saying, will the UK have a repeat of 1938 Night of the Long? I can't say the next word because I'll get blocked off. I'll get blocked off TikTok. Thomas Vale is saying, whatever happens tomorrow will change the world forever. Right, Thomas Vale, I am going to talk about this Zelensky meeting. So, guys, listen. So, Zelensky is going over for round 2 with Trump. And JD, today I bring gum shield, and I bring Alexander Usek with me. Keir Starmer, he hold towel. But yeah, listen, guys, I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to tell you, so you don't need to worry about it. I am going to tell you exactly what is going to happen tomorrow at this meeting where Keir Starmer and what's his name, Zelensky are going over to meet Big DT. They're going to meet Big DT in the White House. I don't know if he's going to wear a suit, guys. I don't know if he's going to wear a suit. It would be a power play if he didn't wear a suit, if he turned up in his little combats. From now, he's saying, from now on YouTube, he's saying, schools brainwash children now. They should teach history, English science. But no, they got to teach them how to think, brainwash at the best. Yeah. We was actually lucky where we live in our in our village because the school teachers are like really not woke at all. And I said to him, I said to him, I said, look, like, are you going to have any like men in dragging or something? Because you need to let me know because that stuff ain't flying with us. And you know, straight away he was like, oh no, we don't do any of that. And I was like, all right, fine. And they really do. Like in our school, well, they're both at comp now. But in the school that like the girls went to, like they really did pay. Really did promote British values and British history. So I know it's not every school, guys. I know it's not every school. Celtic Bay J. Hello, Celtic Bay J. Celtic Bay J is saying, haven't got enough sense or realism about them. If push comes to shove, we're all screwed. Matt is saying, Ant Middleton would be the best war leader at the moment. We need someone that's been to war and knows how war works. I agree. I agree 100%, guys. You know, I agree 100%. But like, remember, guys, we've got to be realistic. Ant Middleton is not a member of any political party. He's been kicked out of Reform. He doesn't hold a seat. So, like, we've got to be realistic, guys. If war broke out right now, if tomorrow, you guys have all seen the AI. Like, I mean, you guys have seen the AI, right? You know, when Zelensky and Trump had the last meeting and you've seen the AI. If like tomorrow afternoon we're all watching this and they're saying, no, this is not AI. This is Zelensky, right? Hooking. Like, you can imagine, can't you? And then they come out and they say, yeah, we're just going to crack it. And they're like, yeah, open up, crack that war seal, lads. We're having it. Like, if it broke out tomorrow, if it broke out tonight, guys, and listen, it may break out tomorrow. I don't know. I think it's unlikely. I am going to talk about what's going to be happening after that. But ladies and gentlemen, please do me a real big favor. Like, comment, share, subscribe, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow. The button's up there if you're on TikTok. The button's down here if you're watching on YouTube. And I don't even know where they are if you're on X, guys. But we are triple streaming. We are streaming on X, we're streaming on TikTok, and we are streaming on YouTube. I'm going to do the first part of this monologue, guys, and then I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and I'm going to continue on YouTube. So if you've not done so already, guys, please show your support over there as well. So, who, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to discuss this a little bit. Who would lead the United Kingdom? And as I'm saying it, guys, I'm laughing because it was difficult for me. When I was thinking about this before, it was really difficult for me to like come to like any type of conclusive like identification to this, because sorry, guys. So let's tackle this big question, guys. If war broke out tomorrow, 2025, who could lead the United Kingdom? Hang on. Who? Carlos is. I've got to pin that, Carlos. I've got to pin that. Carlos. Carlos is saying Matt Hancock. Carlos, I think that's the best comment I've seen. That's fantastic. Yeah, Matt Hancock. So maybe it could be Matt Hancock. So let's just answer it. Let's just talk about it and discuss it, guys. And then I'll give you who I think, me personally, who would be the best, who I think would be the best leader. So what we're talking about, guys, if you just joined us, is who could lead the UK like Churchill did after 1938, I guess. A war leader needs to have strategic vision. They need to have public trust and the ability to unify a divided nation. They also have to have that ability to make difficult decisions, to make decisions that they know that hundreds of, potentially thousands of people are not going to come back from, but it's for the greater good. So that's where I drew my analysis from, guys, right? That's where I drew my analysis from. That's what I was thinking of, okay? So let's just talk about the contenders. Let's talk about the contenders, guys, right? So first up, we've got Keir Starmer. Now, I want to try and be as objective as possible, guys. I want to try and be as objective as possible here, all right? So, look, guys, you guys know how I feel about this. So, Keir Starmer, all right? But, Keir Starmer, all right? So, our Prime Minister, who we have now, he would, I guess, initially, he would be the wartime Prime Minister. So in 1938, Chamberlain was held at the top job, but Chamberlain lacked that fire and inspirational X factor, I guess, to push things forward, to get people to trust him. I mean, guys, look, what do we think? Do we think Keir Starmer's got trust? Do we think he's got trust? I don't know. Do we think Keir Starmer's got trust? Because there's a lot of people on a lot of platforms saying that Keir Starmer's the worst prime minister. He's the worst leader. So, like, remember what I said, guys, on like a wartime leader. Those, like, I guess, like the key aspirations. Like, if you're going to look for a wartime leader like a car, you'd look for that strategic vision as well as the tactical vision, although that's more down to your generals. You've also got that public trust. You've got to have that ability to divide, well, maybe Keir Starmer would have it, to unite a divided nation. And also, you've got to have that stomach to make those difficult decisions. And under that context, I'm just putting an X by his name, guys. He's got an X by his name straight away. Now, I do think, guys, listen, I do think that John Healey, the Defense Secretary, I genuinely think he could be a dark horse. Initially, maybe as like an interim leader, because I do believe he's doing good things with the military. I do, he's done some good reforms. He's focusing on drones. He's focusing on AI. He's made reforms with military recruitment. So, guys, look, as I've been very critical about the Labour Party, I'm going to say John Healey, for me, would have he would have more of a vote than Keir Starmer. Kerry Badenoch, I'm just going to write her off straight away, guys. I'm just going to write her off straight away. I don't think she has any of the faculties that would make a wartime leader. And then we need to come to Nigel Farage. A lot of people are saying Nigel Farage has got the strength, he's got the fire, and he's got the charisma. He certainly has the charisma. But if we think about those key elements, guys, I've met Nigel, and he's a good guy, and I don't think he has the stomach for this. I don't think he has the stomach to send people. A wartime leader needs to win, and win at all costs. So it doesn't matter if your population is down to 99, has lost 99% of its population. You need to have that W. But then you come to the question, winning at what cost? Well, I would always say, and this is why I'm like, with Ant Middleton, he would go for winning at all cost. I would go for winning at all cost. So what do we want in a wartime leader, guys? All right, because sometimes, like, it could be argued right now, what did we win in the Second World War? The Second World War, what did we win? Look at our society now. Do we look like a winning society? Do we look like we're winning? Go to Japan, they lost. Do they look like they're winning? Absolutely. So, Nigel Farage, he has got this firebrand, And again, we've got to be quite clear. Churchill was an outsider, and he rallied on national pride. So does Farage, guys. So I do see those. I do make those correlations. So, sorry, guys. So I've thrown David Lammy into the mix as well. So David Lammy, could he be the UK's next wartime leader? I mean, he's got all his overseas diplomatic, he's got all his overseas diplomatic connections where nobody talks to him, running the Foreign Office, and all the skills he's got. I'm going to put a cross next to David Lammy as well. I'm going to give you my top pick now, guys. So I think, as far as I'm concerned anyway, guys, and listen, put it in the chat because we are going to come to some questions in a second, guys. Put it in the chat, but strategic vision, public trust, the ability to unify, unite a country, unite people against a common enemy, unite a divided nation, and the stomach to make hard decisions. My decision, guys, it's out there. I'm going to go with Boris Johnson. I'm going to go with Boris Johnson, guys. I'm going to go with Boris Johnson as my pick. That's my pick, guys. Tell me what you think for a UK wartime leader. I'm going with Boris Johnson, guys. I am. Right, let me jump up and get some comments, guys. Right, where are we going? Right, let me jump down. Right, lots of people agreeing with me. Thank you, guys. Oh, I've got lots of agreements. Listen, guys, and I understand Boris Johnson's not a politician. Danny Tuds is saying Boris isn't afraid to make decisions. Yeah, and this is what you need, guys. You need with a leader, you need a leader that makes decisions on their own. Like, we don't need Keir, as a wartime leader in the United Kingdom, we don't need Keir Starmer, consulting everybody every 2 minutes, because you've heard the phrase, too many chefs ruin the soup or something. Was it too many chefs ruin the dish or something? So, all the time that you go and consult people militarily, definitely. If you ask, so as Keir Starmer, if Keir Starmer had to make a military decision, he would go to his generals. He'd ask head of the Air Force, head of the Army, and the head of the Navy what the options are. Well, guess what? The head of the Air Force would say it would be an aerial option. The head of the Army would say it would be a ground invasion, and the head of the Navy would say it would be a naval option. So, because he can't do that holistically, that's why I'm calling for Boris, guys. I'm calling for Boris. Yeah, and Cassie's put it perfectly there, guys, on the chat on TikTok. Cassie is saying too many Indians, not enough chiefs. Exactly, So Boris Johnson has my pick as well, guys. And listen, if you guys know how much Boris and Buster, what's that? Right, Buster has just said Katie Hopkins for my outside vote. So yeah, maybe Katie Hopkins could come as well. UK veterans are saying he needs to be an MP though. Look, guys, these things can happen really quickly. Laws can get changed. I mean, let's face it, guys, right? Let's face it. If Boris Johnson went to Reform or the Conservatives right now and said, I'm coming back, somebody would resign for him and he would take their seat. So they could get him into Parliament really quickly. He's got that charisma. He's got that ability to hold a conversation. And look, guys, nobody can say that Boris is not like ridiculously smart. So what time are we on? Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So I'm gonna go on for a little bit more, guys. I want to give some like lessons for like 2025 and like 1938, like the parallels that we can draw. I mean, maybe this is going to be like 90. Maybe it's going to be like 2028 or something. But let me continue, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Lisa Jane is saying too many. Lisa Jane is saying, which is quite right, which is the phrase I was looking for. Lisa Jane on YouTube is saying too many chefs spoil the broth. You guys know what I was trying to get about it, don't you? From now is saying, mate, we in the poo if Starmer gets sick. Angela Rayner, Deputy Prime Minister. Yeah, could you imagine Angela Rayner as Deputy Prime Minister in a wartime scenario? Unbelievable. So, ladies and gentlemen, can you do me a real big favor, please? Can you do me those real good things, guys? Hit the buttons up here. Hit the buttons down there. Those fantastic buttons that help this channel grow. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, guys, to hit those buttons. I mean, like, what do we get now for free? Like, what do we get now for free? I don't know. I don't know what you can get for free. I don't know. Especially if you live in London. What do you get for free? So what can 1938 teach us? Like, what can we learn? Like, and you've heard that, like, you guys have heard me say, those who don't understand history are doomed to repeat it. And every time I say that, guys, every time I say that phrase, I think about David Lammy. Every time I have to say that, guys, all right, I always have a vision of David Lammy. And the vision I get of David Lammy is, you know, where he's standing at the doorway and he's doing a report and he's saying, yes, the people here are very upset. They've not seen, there's no police officers ever come round. And there's like two just standing out that, like, just behind him. It's prime Lammy. So what can 1938 teach us then about 2025? First of all, guys, I mean, look, let's talk about this in a war setting, guys, all right? Because I do think we have an urgent World War III warning right now, guys, and there is no going back. There's no going back to how things used to be, guys. Not at all. So unity. I feel unity is everything. And this is why, if you understand subversion, you understand why our country is so divided. And I know for a fact that Boris Johnson understands subversion. He understands ideological subversion. Probably not as much as me, but I know he does. So in 1938, there was like a huge class divide, and the war fears tested the UK. But Churchill's leadership in 1940, it brought people together. Today's leaders, I guess, they've got to bridge that urban, rural, rich, poor, left, right, male, female, black, white divides. And these divides have been artificially inserted into our communities. You know, especially with these warnings of civil unrest. And, you know, I guess Keir Starmer's, because he doesn't see these things himself. You've heard the phrase, you know, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything. You know, that's kind of the, you know, when we're talking about rebuilding trust, you have to stand for something or you will literally fall for everything. We need to be prepared, guys. We need to be prepared for a global conflict of an industrial scale. Be under no illusion, guys. I've been talking about this. I've been saying it's coming, and it is coming. Tomorrow's going to be another key day. In 1938, the UK we weren't prepared for war in 1938. Like, before the Falkland Islands, 19, or was it? I should remember. Go on, 82. Before the Falkland Islands, we weren't prepared for, to fight a conflict. And the thing with war is, the bad guys, your enemy, they're never going to attack you when you're ready. They're never going to wait for you to be ready. That's why it's so dangerous right now, guys. All right, because we are getting ready, and that's what makes you more vulnerable. So we do need to be prepared, guys. We really need to be prepared. There's warnings that our army is too small. Defense spending is it's ridiculous, guys. Not only defense spending, because it's no good, and I know John Healey knows this. It's no good spending, just throwing more money at defense. You need to spend it better. Like, we can't be paying £500 for a hammer. We can't be paying £500 for a light bulb. We need to get value, guys. And unfortunately, we're not getting value at the moment because of the red tape. So we need to be prepared. We need to spend our money better. I do think John, again, guys, look, I've been very critical over the Labour Party, but I do think John Healey has a good, handle on this. Inspiration. Guys, look, inspiration, it's not negotiable. You cannot, out of everything, if you're from my military experience, inspiration is key, guys, all right? If your leaders don't inspire you, if you don't trust them, you ain't going to follow them, guys. Trust me, all right? I've worked when I was in the military, I trusted all the people I worked for, each and every one of them, guys. And you need that, guys. You need that inspiration. You need that trust value. So Churchill's speeches, there's no denying it, guys. Like I said earlier on before, if you go and watch, if you go and read the full transcript to their finest hour, honestly, guys, some of the things he's talking about in there, it will make you bawl like a baby. It will make you bawl like a baby with no bottle. So you do have to have trust. You do have to have inspiration. Winston Churchill's speeches did rally the nation. And of course, they found their way into some Iron Maiden songs as well. Nigel Farage does have that spark, guys. He does. Nigel Farage does have that spark, but I don't feel he's the right person. I'm sticking with Boris Johnson, guys. I am sticking with Boris Johnson. And you've got to think as well, guys, okay? Global alliances. You've got to have global alliances. Remember what I always talk about. Britain is going to be the spearhead of this coalition of the willing. That's because Britain have the best striking capacity. They have the best force projection capacity. So in that context, you need somebody that can get those alliances. And listen, guys, we all know Boris loves a party, don't we? We all know Boris loves a party. So he's the right man, socially, intellectually, I'd say spiritually and charismatically. I think Boris is the man for the job, guys. I think Boris is the man for the job. I think he ticks all those boxes. Right, where are we going, guys? Let me get some comments. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so close at the moment. I'm going to be jumping over to YouTube in a minute. Rose is saying, I don't trust anyone in Parliament. Rupert Lowe, that's it. So, Rose, Boris Johnson is my pick. Boris Johnson was kicked out. And if you guys have watched my video on why I think Boris Johnson was kicked out, you guys will know why Boris Johnson is the right choice. I should have had that as the thumbnail maybe of this live stream. Right, Google it is saying, just apply for university credit and wait for the call. I'm now struggling at my extreme seasonal part-time work. Well, Google it. There may be a job in the military for you very soon, mate, because, the way things are going, it looks like it. Carlos, I am going to give you guys... Carlos, I am going to tell you in a minute what is going to happen tomorrow with not Boris Johnson. I've got Boris Brain. Raven has got Boris Brain. Tomorrow, guys... Totally forgot what I'm saying. All right, Carlos on TikTok is saying thoughts on tomorrow. I'm going to tell you guys exactly. How the meeting tomorrow in America is going to go between Trump and little Zelensky. We empowered you to be a tough guy, but I don't think you got the cards. So who is your wartime leader, guys? Like, mine's Boris Johnson. I hope you guys agree with me. I guess it doesn't matter. We're gonna find out pretty much pretty soon. But who do we really trust to lead the UK through a crisis? I mean, I've not seen divisive leadership in the UK for a long time, and I don't trust. I just don't. And I'll give you the reason. I don't trust the politicians that we have at the moment. Not because I'm being like. And listen, guys, I need to caveat this. I'm pro-government. I'm pro-military. I'm pro-police. I'm pro-law and order. I'm also pro-government. But what that means is, if you vote for somebody, Thomas Vale is saying we need Maggie Thatcher. Yeah, we need. I'd say we need Maggie Thatcher as well. If you vote for somebody and they say we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then they blatantly don't do it or don't make any attempt to do it, you will naturally lose trust out of those people, guys. Okay, you will naturally lose trust from those people. So, my pick, guys, is Boris Johnson for a wartime leader. 1938 UK and 1938 UK and 2025 UK. We have a lot of parallels, guys. Class divides, civil unrest, masses of unemployment, and these are all the precursors moving towards war. But we also have resilience in the United Kingdom. We have this golden generation. So if you are under 16 or under, of course, if you're 17, of course, if you're 18, you're in that thing, but you are going to be resilient. You're going to be strong, and you are going to rebuild the United Kingdom. You're going to rebuild the United Kingdom back for better or worse. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to tell you guys now, and then I'm going to jump onto the comments. I'm going to tell you now what is going to happen tomorrow with this meeting between Zelensky and Trump. And obviously Keir Starmer's going as well to hold his hand. So there's two ways that this can go, right, guys? First of all, it can all collapse and we can have World War III. I don't think that's going to happen. The second way, the more likely thing that it's going to happen is they're going to come back. They're going to have their meetings. Trump will come out. He'll say, we agreed on a lot of this stuff. We agreed on some really good things. I think there's a way forward to a ceasefire. I need to speak to Putin. And then that's it. Nothing's going to change on the front line, guys. Nothing's going to change at all. I do think, though, there's a strong argument for a temporary ceasefire. And that temporary ceasefire would be to push in the peacekeeping force. Swizzled off YouTube. Guys, am I still on YouTube? Am I still on YouTube, guys? Can somebody let me know if I'm still on YouTube? The screen's gone all funny. Well, don't worry about it because I am recording on YouTube and it will get put on. So that's what I think is going to happen, guys, tomorrow. Donald Trump's going to say everything went well, everything went fine, but unfortunately, I need to speak to Vladimir Putin. I'm going to phone him next week, but that's all you'll hear about it, guys. That's all you'll hear about it. I do think in the near future, there's got to be a potentially a temporary ceasefire, and that would let boots on the ground get in, and then the war would continue. So that's my thoughts on tomorrow, guys. Nothing is going to change on the front line. Nothing's going to change. There's going to be no big movements. Nothing's going to happen. The Russians are taking ground every day. Right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to close this down now on TikTok. I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I'll be on YouTube. I'll be on X. I'll be on for a little bit longer. So if you've not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, can you please go and show your support over there? I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. And of course, I'm the Real Raven 1 on TikTok. So if you guys can do that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to close this down in a second on TikTok if I can get the screen back up. Where are we? Right. Thomas Vale is saying ceasefire equals rearm and regroup. James is saying, Sean, as you well know, a temporary ceasefire gives Ukraine a chance. Who else is going tomorrow with Starmer? Yeah, good point. So when we see these things, you know, normally it's who else is going with the attaches? Who else is going in the entourage with that diplomatic meeting? Remember, guys, look, all the world leaders have met now. The game is set. The game is set, guys. The game is set. I feel this is the last tick in the box before everybody goes to have a swizzle. And once that swizzle starts swizzling, there's no dizzling. Thomas Vale, where is he? Thomas Vale is saying, I'll just give you a little quick fact on Margaret Thatcher as well. Margaret Thatcher was slated for sinking the Belgrano. So if you guys don't know, there was one of the Royal Navy nuclear submarines sunk the Belgrano. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but when there was the Iranian embassy siege in 1980, Margaret Thatcher allegedly. So I'm told. Margaret Thatcher told the guys. Margaret Thatcher told the guys that she doesn't want any comebacks from this. Now you guys can take from that whatever you want. But I am going to jump over now to YouTube. I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys. Oh, hang on. DAP is saying the Bible says that they will say peace and security and sudden destruction will be upon them. And on that bombshell, guys, I'm going to jump over to YouTube. So I hope you're going to jump over and join me and show your support, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things that help this channel grow. I think we're off. Right, we're off, ladies and gentlemen. We are just streaming on YouTube. Right, let me get some of these comments. Now I can talk a little bit openly, a little bit more openly, and I can share my thoughts. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Hello, I'm just going to jump up and get these comments. A lot of people saying yes, because obviously I'm still streaming when I thought I'd gone off. Lizzie on YouTube is saying, right, okay, so Lizzie on YouTube is saying, have you seen where Zelensky is apparently oh, hang on, I'm still on hang on, guys, I'm still on TikTok. Right, that could have been embarrassing. Right, how do I turn? It's not turning off. Oh, it's done this before. I may still be ladies and gentlemen, I may still be triple streaming because TikTok doesn't want to. Like, are you guys on TikTok pressing something and you're like, no, we want him to stay on. Right, I'm pressing the button here and it's not going on. Should I just pull the camera out or something? Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to turn TikTok off, but it won't go off. Right, I know if I leave it, it will. It's not going off. I'm literally. Oh, right. Am I on? Are we still? No, that's it. Sorry, guys. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the TikTok won't, that's the second time it's happened. I don't know what it is. Sorry. Lizzie is saying, have you looked into where Zelensky is apparently hiding money? Fact, fake news. First of all, guys, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not true. So the rumor is Zelensky's sending like 50 million a month. That's a lot of money to like an offshore account somewhere. I can't remember where it was. I also heard a report that Zelensky is now the owner of France's biggest private bank. Again, I don't know, guys. Like, if you're wanting squirrel away money, you only need like 5 million or something. Call it 10 if you're greedy. So I would say if Zelensky's thinking about like fuck you money, like realistically, he only needs like 10 mil and he can go away and hide somewhere. Like 50 million a month, the amount is really excessive, and it seems to me a little bit unbelievable. But look, guys, I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not writing anything off. I certainly, when you guys were telling me, you know, that the British government was sneaking in foreign military and putting them in hotels, I thought that was fake news. Silly Gallardi, good evening, Silly Gallardi, is saying, I think that it's not just who leads you in the war, but also what you are fighting for as a nation. Yeah, do you know what? Silly, I think that's a great sentiment. Like, what would people like? Do you know what, Silly? Why didn't you ask this comment on Silly? Why didn't you put this comment on TikTok? So yeah, I can't. There's nothing I can say to that. So. What would people think they were fighting for in the context of a war with Russia in Ukraine? Like, where would that come from? So then you start to think, right, okay, what would the public sentiment be? You know, would there have to be some sort of unifying event? Would there have to be some sort of uniting moment? I don't know. Maybe if like Russia started to throw missiles over or something to the United Kingdom. And then Silly Galard is saying, here, BB, so we're talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, is not popular at all, but the W, I'm going to assume the rest of that comment should be, but what people are fighting for, the protection of Israel and the eradication of Hamas, is what people believe in. So that's why those people are fighting for it. Lisa Jane is saying, so scary for people at the moment, but all the men are turning up on the protests now more than ever before. Yeah, there's been a lot of people turning up at these protests, guys. But listen, when we're talking about the immigration protests in the United Kingdom, we're kind of like missing the, like, if we don't stop the flow of people coming into the United Kingdom, those people are just going to get moved out of one hotel into another, and then into a council house. Don't forget, Angela Rayner, we're building loads of rate cheap council houses. We're turning them into HMOs, and then we're going to get them people working, and they're going to rate kickstart our economy. No, they're not, Rachel. Angela, like, I would like to go and take some of our politicians and go and take them some places I've been in the Middle East, you know, and just say, right, are these the people that are going to kickstart the economy, Angela? Are these the people? Are these really the people? I mean, I was in Baghdad once, right? This is a true story. It's not even overtly funny. So I was in Baghdad once. I'm on my computer and we're watching this. I can't remember what. There's like a TV station in Iraq. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like Fox Media or something, and it'll just play like movies, like Western, like in English, and you don't get that many English channels. So I'm watching this. I'm on my computer. I had one of those early MacBooks that was like white, and I looked at my plug socket, and it started steaming. So I was like, oh right. So I went and told the I can't remember what he's on, Ashad or something. I said, Ashad, my plug socket's steaming. He said, oh yeah, when the person downstairs has a shower, all the plug sockets upstairs steam. And I said, what? He said, yeah, that's just what happens. And like, these are the people that are going to rebuild our country. Anyway, you guys know where I'm going with that. So yeah, a lot of these people, you probably wouldn't want them in. And then Silly Gallardi just commenting about the cause of this war and how if you're not fighting for something you believe in, you kind of won't give it 100%. April Lee is saying, when we see and hear that people in the UK are heading off into a battle, at the moment, it's really quiet with Ukraine. So, yeah, it's not quiet with Ukraine, guys. It's not quiet. It's just the media is not reporting on it. The scenario in Ukraine has been a grinding push by the Russians, and this is why I always say, guys, you know, what is the purpose of your military? What is the purpose of your military? Is the purpose of your military to for example, to be the strongest, fittest, fastest, to have the best hair, to be able to do somersaulting backflip attacks? Is the purpose of your military to burn through money and develop really good technology? Or is the purpose of your military to win wars, to close with and kill the enemy? What's the mission of your military? If it's the latter, I could argue that the NATO military comes up short against the Russians. The analogy I always give is about two football teams. And, so I don't see a W for NATO right now, guys. And I'm saying that as somebody who's worked with the Ukrainians. I've interviewed lots of the Ukrainians who've come face to face with Russians. I've watched the Russians' tactics. I know how this stuff works. I've served with NATO. I've served with UK special forces, I guess. And I've done all these things. So I understand how all these things come together. Yes, British military have the best special forces, but it's a small number. Yes, British military have some fantastic troops, but it's a small number. Yes, we have great tanks. NATO has all this cool stuff, but the numbers, guys, and it's a numbers game. We are talking about numbers, the likes of people have never heard of. Tracy McKibben is just throwing it out there saying Dominic Cummings is a player. Oh, we'll go with that then. Dominic Cummings is a player. Lewis Ackers is saying the big number 3 is coming, cannot land dates and times, but we have to consider, along with civil unrest, the possibility of war, the brewing is happening, domestic and foreign affairs. It's there, guys. And listen, this meeting tomorrow between Zelensky and Trump, it's only going to go one way, guys. It's only going to go one way. They're not going to agree a ceasefire. It's not going to happen. Even if, okay, so what do we mean by ceasefire? We mean people stop shooting. People stop killing each other. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Even if right now, if we see scenes tomorrow, Vladimir Putin's flown over to the White House. He wants to get in on this meeting. And then tomorrow, we see them all in a sauna or banya, right? They're all arm in arm, hugging. They've got little white towels around the waists. They're all singing Land of the Free. Donald Trump's leading it. They're all drinking vodka, eating that Swedish fish, that like Swedish fish that stinks. They're all having a real good time. And then they all say, yeah, we're having a ceasefire. Even if that happens tomorrow, there will still be fighting in Ukraine for the next 10 years, guys, right? For the next 10 years. The military is not structured on both sides, the Russian military and the Ukrainian military. They're not structured to put their weapons down. It's impossible. How do you do it? Like, physically, it's impossible. Tactically, it's possible. Strategically, it's pointless. So it's just not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen. All these mainstream media, reporters, outlets, potential land that Zelensky may have to cede. Potential feedback that Trump may give. This might happen. This might happen. Stop, guys. I'm telling you what is going to happen. Absolutely nothing. Donald Trump will say, we had some great meetings, we had some great success, but there's still a few sticking points. That's what he's going to say. And he needs to speak to Putin. And then you won't hear anything about it. And then Putin will say, yes, okay, Donald, I understand I understand position of Vladimir Zelensky. I need to consult with my general. I speak back to you maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and then we rediscuss, okay? Okay, Vladimir, I like to see it, and then maybe we can have that vodka at your place. Okay, but I will have Nemirov because it's more superior vodka. I have to smuggle it in from Ukraine because it's very bad if I get seen drinking Ukrainian vodka when it's better than Russian, but I keep that on the low key. Don't worry about it. People think I'm sober, but they don't know I love a good Jack Daniels and Coke. So that's probably how the conversation's going to go. Nothing's going to come of it, guys. Nothing's going to come of it. Priv Caro is saying that the day if Trump and Putin meet in Norway, if Trump and Putin meet in Norway, sign papers to buy defense missiles for drones for a crazy amount of money, they didn't take the chance and made sure to have it before the meeting. Priv Caro, I don't know. Yeah, so there's so I think what we're getting at there is the amount of money that's been changing hands between these. Like, do we really think, like, economically, I'll answer me this question, guys, right? Economically, Do you think the United States want to stop supplying the European Union with vast amounts of weapons to be burned in Ukraine? No, of course not. We're going to supply the European Union with the great weapons, the most lethal weapons the world has ever seen. There's some great weapons, and people coming up against American weapons, they better know that those American weapons, nobody else can build them as good as we can. We build the best. So, like, they're making billions of dollars or euros or whatever they're doing it in. You know, they're making a lot of money themselves. So that's how it's going to go, guys. You know, the military-industrial complex in America is going to be sending weapons to the European Union. The European Union are going to then giving them to the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are then probably going to be jumped. I think, we'll see. We'll see, guys. We're going to know what's happening tomorrow. I think that's how we're going to roll tomorrow. Chair is saying, did you see the drive-by shooting in Wakefield? They cancelled the Trinity games today because they thought it happened, even though it happened Tuesday. I've not seen that. No, guys. A lot of stuff is getting suppressed. There was a murder of a person, I believe, outside of a woman. Again, this is one of the videos I got restricted. Outside a care home. There was the bombs detonated like this morning. And then there's, allegedly there's a drive-by in Wakefield. It's unbelievable. Well, hang on. Michelle Ackers is saying, have you seen the news on Google Newsfeed? Putin has apparently agreed to a NATO-style protection. So what would that mean? That Putin would be sending his own troops into Ukraine to provide protection? I don't understand what that would be. Lord of Language is saying, Putin winning, it'll be on his terms. It stops Trump can make a deal all he wants. Putin knows why stop when he can take on all his terms. Yeah, I agree. You know, if you're winning, if you're on the winning team, like can you imagine the World Cup, right? Can you imagine the World Cup? I don't know, whatever two teams you want to pick for the World Cup final, and one team is like 4-0, right? One team is like 4-0 up after 15 minutes. And the captain of the other team comes out and says, do you know what? Do you want to call this a draw? We'll share the winning, and we'll call it a draw. Should we call it a draw? We're about even. You'd be like, no, I'm just gonna win. I don't want to draw. I want to win. If that's okay with you. What? Oh, guys, there's so much bad stuff happening here. I've not seen this. A lot of this information that we're sharing now, a lot of it is restricted. UK Veterans is saying, I went to read my kids a story from a kids' bedtime story website, and apparently it contains sensitive content and not available in my region. Yeah, it was probably... They were restricting kids' stories, and I think Cinderella got restricted because it was misogynistic. No, it was Snow White. It was, sorry, maybe Cinderella as well. But Snow White, I think, got, I think it was Snow White. It might have been Cinderella. I want to say Snow White, but now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about that girl, and maybe I'm just wrong. But I know some of the Disney classics got restricted because they were like misogynistic or something. And Priv Caro saying, seems a little that Trump is not taking sides just in case he needs to jump over to the other team. I don't think anybody's gonna, I don't think anybody could. I don't think anybody can threaten the United States, guys. Like nobody can threaten the US. Like they're protected by huge amounts of water to the east and west. From the south, you've got like a tiny little Panama Canal that people would have to come over, and that's not happening. You've got the Mexicans, which, yeah, you could argue like right on the southern border of the United States, they have a massive, well, they had a big immigration problem. Donald Trump stopped it now. He's militarized that whole border. I think it's called Operation Lone Star or something. And to the north, they've got the Canadians, which are providing like the 51st state support. And this is where I think this is going, guys. I really do. Like I said this months and months ago, maybe even a year ago. In fact, I was down in the cellar when I used to do videos in the cellar. I can remember saying, because I could see this Anglosphere emerging, where you've got like, if you think of North America right now, think of like Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, the United Kingdom, what we know now to be United States of America, and potentially the Panama Canal. That would all come in this new world order. That would all come under the administration of the United States. And then you've got Europe in its entirety, Russia and China all merging and becoming part of the China sphere, I guess. And that's where I think we're heading, guys. That's where I think we're heading. So when I did that video, like maybe even a year ago, and I was saying, guys, look, I really do see a way forwards here where the United Kingdom becomes part of the United States. I really do. I did see that coming. Captain Trips is saying, I'm American and I can tell you, we don't give a D whether Russia or Ukraine win. Right, Captain Trips, I don't know what that means, brother. I'm American and I can tell you, don't worry, I can tell you're American. How do you, right, when I was in the military, we always used to say, how do you spot an American in the, cookhouse? And we used to say, don't worry, he'll tell you. So Captain Trips is saying, I'm an American and I can tell you, I think he's saying we don't give a damn whether Russia or Ukraine win. Listen, Captain Trips, I know English is not your first language, but I understand what you mean, buddy. So Captain Trips is saying they don't give, he doesn't give a damn. I know a lot of Americans, and I work with a lot of Americans, and I know you don't speak for all Americans, but I welcome and I respect your opinion. James Brooke is saying, is Trump going to stop supplying with ammo? No. If so, the war is over. So James Brooke, no. So what the Americans are going to continue to do is, you see, the Americans are not supplying the Ukrainians with ammo. Sorry, did I say that right? The Americans are not going to, the Americans are not supplying the Ukrainians with ammo. The Americans are selling ammo to the Europeans, which they're getting paid for, and the Europeans are giving it to the Ukrainians. So Trump can say they're not supplying the Ukrainians with ammo, while American ammo is still finding its way to Ukraine, and while the Americans are making a ton of money. So, you know, that is where it is. Oh, Coastal Drones is saying, I'm late. What have I missed? Coastal Drones, we have been talking about all sorts. I was monologuing. I did miss a lot of the comments. I was monologuing on, I was making comparisons between the United Kingdom in 1938 and the United Kingdom now. Pre-war, war anxiety, social unrest, social divides, economic struggles. We was talking about that. And I've been talking about the urgency of World War III warnings. And guys, listen, there really is no going back. And ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, I think I'm going to close this down now. Yes, I'm going to close this down now. I'll be back on tomorrow at 10. And if you've not done so already, guys, and you are on, can you please do me a favor? Hit those buttons down there. The follow, subscribe, like, bell notification, literally all those buttons down at the bottom that help this channel grow, guys. Because ultimately, it's only your fingers that help this it's only your fine fingers that help this channel grow in popularity. You guys have seen how much I get restricted on TikTok and how much I get banned off that channel. So I do genuinely want to make YouTube my main platform where I can continue to voice my opinion and let you guys know what's happening long before it happens. Anyway, guys, listen, put some things in the comments, do some stuff that helps me out. I will see you in the morning at 10, I hope. I think I should be.